do you maximize your Disneyland day? In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the easiest ways to completely max out your Disneyland parks day. Before we get any further, we're going to be talking about the Park Hopper add-on in today's video. Disney's Park Hopper is a paid add-on that you can get added to your Disneyland and Disneyland California park tickets. Your Park Hopper add-on will allow you to visit Disneyland and Disney California Adventure as many times as you like in a single park day with valid ticket. Without the Park Hopper upgrade, you can only visit one of the parks per day. Also, I should mention that I will be using Disney California Adventure and DCA interchangeably. Please know that those are the same thing. Sometimes it's just easier to summarize it as DCA instead of calling it by its whole name. As another disclaimer, as of the time of recording, all of this information is accurate. Of course, policies, prices, availability, etc. are all subject to change. Hello there, my name is Toxie and I am your typical broke Disney fan from Hawaii. Before we get started, please let this be your reminder to drink some coffee, drink some water, and here we go. There are, of course, pros and cons to getting the Park Hopper add-on added to your ticket. In the video that you're watching right now, we're going to be talking about the pros of getting the Park Hopper add-on. The next video to watch is this one over here, where we talk about the cons of getting the Park Hopper add-on. That video will be linked both in the description box and at the end of the video. This should really go without saying, but the biggest and best benefit to getting the Park Hopper add-on is that you can go in between both of the Disney parks as many times as you like within the park hopping window. This is great because you're not stuck doing just one park per day. The theme parks in California are literally so close to each other that you can be at Disney California Adventure, look out and across the way right into Disneyland. They are so close to each other, and unlike Disney World, you do not have to waste time getting on a shuttle and going to your next park. Literally, you just exit one park, you hop, skip, cartwheel, whatever you want to do just across the way into your next selected park. Now, of course, not everyone has the time or money to do a long Disneyland trip. With the Park Hopper, you can easily do both parks in a single day. It's not always the easiest feat to accomplish, but with good planning, lots of water, very comfortable walking shoes, it is definitely possible to maximize your Disneyland day. If you don't get the Park Hopper, you can very easily waste a ton of your day when a park closes early for something like Oogie Boogie Bash. Oogie Boogie Bash is Disneyland's Halloween party, which runs through select nights in September and October. And let's be honest, the park closes at 6 p.m. If you don't have the Park Hopper, you are stuck getting out of the park at 6 o'clock p.m. Whereas if you have the Park Hopper, you exit Disneyland California, right on over to Disneyland, and then you can close out the park. If you don't get the Park Hopper add-on, you'll have to leave the park early when there are special events like Oogie Boogie Bash, the Star Wars event, Princess Night, etc. With your Park Hopper, it's not a problem. If your park closes at 6 p.m. for one of those things, just hop right on over to the next park and let the fun continue on. With the busy and new rides, you might need to do something called a virtual queue. A virtual queue is just that. It is a virtual way that you hold your place in line for some of Disney's most popular attractions. Historically, a few of these rides that have had these virtual queues are Web Slingers, which is the Spider-Man ride. There's Rise of the Resistance, which is the Star Wars ride. And then Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is Mickey and Minnie's ride in Disneyland. It sounded better in my head than it does when I'm actually saying it out loud. Sorry. Anyways, these virtual queues are assigned what are called boarding groups. These assigned boarding groups are limited in number and they are highly coveted. It is not uncommon to try to get into a virtual queue just to fail to be able to do so because these boarding groups fill up. With the Park Hopper add-on, you really maximize the number of tries that you have in order to get a virtual queue. This is because the virtual queues open up twice a day. Even if you start off your day at the wrong part, you can't get into the virtual queue for the first run, but when the virtual queue opens up in the afternoon, you can try every single day of your visit to get that virtual queue. Are you more of a rides person or a show person? If you're more of a shows person, then a Park Hopper might be pretty valuable to you. Unlike rides, which run all day, every day, assuming that they're running properly, shows are very limited in number and in times. When you have a Park Hopper, you can go between the different parks to catch as many shows as humanly possible. Alternatively, some shows will get canceled due to things like weather, technical difficulties, etc. So if you don't have a park hopper and you don't have another day in that park, honestly, you will kind of be out of luck. Unless things clear up and the show happens later on, you're stuck without being able to watch your show. If you have park hopper though, and another park day, it really does open up the opportunity to possibly get in and see it the next day. If this video has been helpful to you so far and you love Disney as much as I do, please consider subscribing. I absolutely love making new Disney content for you, and by subscribing and or liking this video and other videos, it really lets me know that you are enjoying what I'm bringing to you. While you're at it, please let me know down in the comments below what your absolute favorite Disneyland hack is. I'm very interested to see what you have to say. So I don't know about you, but I love Disney food. Love it. And my all-time favorite Disney restaurant is Blue Bayou. For those of you that don't know, Blue Bayou is the restaurant that is literally located inside of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It is very hard to get a reservation for, and without park hopper, I need to very carefully plan out my Disney day in order to try to get my reservation for Blue Bayou. If you have a park hopper, it is a lot easier to get into these very coveted restaurants like Blue Bayou by utilizing the walk-up line. If Blue Bayou isn't your thing, having the park hopper add-on really does open up the possibilities of all the different things you can try. Let's say that you're traveling with a party that all likes to do different things. Let's say, for example, half of your group wants to be in Disney California Adventure Park to go ride web slingers again. But let's say that the other half of you want to go back to Batu again for the third time this visit. Well, with the park hopper, you guys aren't all stuck in one park. You can still separate out, do your things, and then meet up together for whatever reason, whether it's dinner, catching your shuttle, getting a ride back to wherever you guys are going. It just makes managing a large party a little easier on planning, because then you guys can go off and do what you want in the parks you want, but still have the availability to meet up wherever park you guys are going to meet up in. Another benefit of park hopping is that it is a little bit easier to avoid closures due to inclement weather. Obviously, inclement weather will shut down certain rides. That is completely inevitable. But let's say that the ride you want to go on is closed due to inclement weather. You can easily park hop over to the other park and let the fun continue. You can go and ride the other rides that you absolutely need to ride. Of course, assuming that those are also not affected by inclement weather closures. One of the things that I personally love doing during inclement weather, whether it's rainy or just way too hot, is I love going to Main Street. The reason why I like going to Main Street is because most of the shops, they are connected to one another. So instead of having to be walking out in the rain or out in the heat, you can be indoors through most of that stretch, and you are walking through a dry and temperature controlled environment. To go along with previous points, so let's say that you have a ride that you want to go on, but it is closed due to ride malfunction. Well, if you have the park hopper, you have more opportunities to try to get on that ride. Whereas, let's say you're visiting for only 2 days, you don't have park hopper. If it's broken that first day, you have no other chances to try to get on that ride. With your park hopper though, you can always try again the next day, so you get all of the things that you want to get done on this visit. This next point is not going to affect everyone, but if you have mobility issues, Disney California Adventure is much more accessible than Disneyland. As someone who personally has mobility issues, some days I find it just so much easier to go through DCA than I find it to go through Disneyland. Without the park hopper, you are either stuck either not going to the parks at all, or you're stuck going to a less accessible park. That being said though, like, Disney is very good about accessibility, and even though some things aren't extremely accessible, there are still accessible workarounds for them. For example, Sleeping Beauty's castle tour, there are stairs. And if you cannot do stairs for whatever reason, they do have like a virtual sit through. You sit down, you watch a screen, and it goes through the whole thing. Obviously, it's not the same, but that's just one of the examples that I can think of off the top of my head, kind of comparing accessibility in Disneyland versus DCA. If you're opting to purchase a lightning lane for a popular attraction, you will not be stuck having to just be in one park the whole time. Lightning lanes are kind of similar to virtual queues in the sense that you're given a return time for a popular attraction. The only caveat is that lightning lane is pay to to play, which means that for every lightning lane, you will have to pay an additional fee. With a park hopper, you can be more spontaneous if your plans should not go 100% accordingly. It's not that you cannot just do something in the same park. All I'm saying is that it really opens up your options to do multiple things. I have to admit though, one of the best perks about a park hopper is that it's easier to avoid crowds. There are days and times when certain parks will be a lot busier than others. If you find that the park you're in is overly crowded, it's very easy just to go right over to the next park and see if you'll have more luck over there. For example, parks that have magic morning hours are typically a lot more crowded than the parks that don't. For those of you that may not know, the magic morning hours are basically times where the parks will open up earlier, and these magic morning hours are exclusively for guests at the Disneyland hotels. So the parks open earlier if you're staying at a Disneyland property. If you are someone staying on property, you can start the magic morning hour at the park that actually has the magic morning and then hop over to the slower, less crowded park afterwards. If the park that you want to visit has no park reservations available, you can potentially visit the park later on in the day with your park hopper ticket. So if you want to go to DCA, but they don't have any reservations available, it's fine. Just start your day at Disneyland and then hop right on over to DCA and continue on with your day. As of the time of script writing, park hopper is a flat cost. Basically, this means that it doesn't matter if you're doing 5 days or 2 days, the cost is the same because the park hopper is attached to the ticket for the life of the ticket. So if you're staying for 5 days, as of the time of recording, the cost per day for your park hopper is less than $15 per day. When you break it down per day, the amount really isn't unreasonable. But I do need to note though that the park hopper add-on for a single day is more expensive than the park hopper add-on for 2+ days. Just dollar amount, it's more expensive. I'm not sure why, but it is an unfortunate truth. As of the time of recording, park reservations are still required. But once 11 o'clock rolls around, you can go between the parks as many times as you like. So if you want to start your day at Jolly Holiday and then go over to DCA to do Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, and then return to Disneyland for your lightsaber building experience at Savi's workshop, you are more than welcome to do so as long as it's after 11 a.m. Without the park hopper, you of course can still do all of these things, you just can't do it in a single day. If you are still on the fence about upgrading your ticket to a park hopper, you don't need to do it right now. You can easily do it at the parks by visiting City Hall. There are other places where you can do the upgrade. I'm just not 100% sure where they are because when I upgrade in the parks, I always just go straight to City Hall. Honestly, it was very easy to do the upgrade at City Hall, and pricing wise, it was exactly the same price at City Hall as it is online. Unfortunately though, if you do decide to upgrade at the park, it does mean that you're having to take time away from your park experience to make it to City Hall, stand in line, and then do the park hopper upgrade. Park hopping is extremely easy to do, but with every good thing, there are downsides. In this video over here, we do go over some of the cons of having the park hopper upgrade. Before you check out the next video, please consider supporting the channel by visiting either our eBay store or our Depop store. Links are down in the description. In our shops, we do have Disney merchandise available for sale, and we would really appreciate it if you would support the channel by checking them out. Whether you support this channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, or purchasing things from our shops, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and please have a magical day. Bye.